Thought for the day. Communication is one of the keys to personal and business success.
Welcome to 7 Minutes for Yourself. I'm Christina Aina, and I'm so glad you've joined me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. Let's take this time to reconnect with ourselves and improve our well-being.
In today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself, we are learning strategies to push through self-doubt and communicate clearly and efficiently on the spot. Have a listen.
Have you ever walked away from a meeting or a conversation feeling like you failed because you didn't talk as fast or as smart as you would have liked? Maybe you were put on the spot, asked a question, and you didn't know how to answer it quickly or in an intelligent way, so you didn't answer at all. The first thing you need to do to think faster and smarter on the spot is to stop worrying about what other people think. A lot of the time, it's our own personal worry about what will other people think that gets in the way of us being able to speak quickly and intelligently. You might be asking yourself, will they think I'm smart? Are they following what I'm saying? Are they bored with what I'm saying? This self-doubt is a major communication block that definitely does prevent you from being able to communicate quickly and intelligently, especially in stressful situations. It creates an internal stress inside of you and basically triggers the fight or flight mode. And what happens when the fight or flight mode is triggered, all of your bodily functions go to the parts of the body that matter the most at that time for running or for fighting. And it takes those resources away from your brain, which is exactly where you need it for cognitive thinking and for communication. So if you're wondering why you can't think fast, why you can't speak quickly or intelligently on the spot, especially when you are in a stressful situation or especially when you're feeling self-doubt, the fight or flight response is exactly why you can't do that. The thing you need to tell yourself is that the self-doubt you are feeling, it isn't an actual threat, it's a perceived threat. But the thing is, your brain can't tell the difference between an actual threat or a perceived threat. So it will trigger the fight or flight response regardless of the actual situation you are in, regardless of whether you are experiencing a perceived threat or experiencing an actual threat. So whenever you are stressed, whenever you are anxious or frightened or you're feeling self-doubt, the fight or flight response will often be triggered in your brain. And this will prevent you from being able to communicate clearly, quickly, and intelligently to other people. So how do you reverse this? What you need to focus on is to stop worrying about what other people think. Stop worrying, will they think I am smart enough? Will they think I am intelligent enough? Stop worrying if people agree with you or disagree with you. Now, later on in this video, I will share with you some techniques that good speakers use to draw people into what they're saying and to keep people engaged and interested when they're talking. So I'll share those tips with you later on in this video. But you definitely need to try to overcome your fear or your worry about what other people think, especially if you want to talk fast and smarter on the spot. The second thing you need to do to talk fast and smart is to get straight to the point. Don't leave people wondering what your main point is. Now, sometimes people, when they communicate, when they start talking, they'll go around and around and around and then finally reach their main point. So people understand what their main point is. Now, when you do this, it does two things. It can confuse people and it can bore people. Most people use this strategy because when they start talking, they're not actually sure what their main point is. They figure, well, I'm just going to start talking, and as I go along, I'll eventually figure out what I want to say. But like I said, the reason this doesn't work and the reason this prevents you from being able to talk fast and smart on the spot is it confuses people. People don't know or they can't follow what you're saying, or they get lost in all of the things that you're telling them. And it also bores them. Quite often, people have switched off before you have reached your main point. And this is definitely not something you want to happen when you're in a business situation or when you're in a meeting. You really need to try to identify the main point you want to make before you start speaking. That way, when you do start speaking, you can quickly get to the main point. You can quickly tell everybody else in the room what the main point you want to make is. There's less risk of confusing them, and there's less risk of them being bored or switching off. Sometimes though, you are put on the spot during a meeting, you're asked a question and you don't quite know how to answer that person? How do you talk fast and smart in those moments when you are put on the spot? So when someone puts you on the spot and asks you a question, you're not quite sure how to answer it, this is how you handle it so you appear confident and you appear like you're in control of the conversation. The first thing you do once they've asked you the question is you pause. You take a breath in and a breath out, and you appear like you are thinking about how you are going to answer that question. The next thing you do is you respond with something like, that's a good question, Bob. And then you repeat the question. What do I think about the project that Sally is proposing? Well, and then you go into what your thoughts are. And here you really need to share your honest thoughts and your honest opinions on the project that Sally is proposing. Is it good? Is it bad? What do you genuinely think of it? Do you have any concerns about the project? Are there things that you think need to be in place before your team starts looking at that particular project? It's really, really important here that you're honest and that you're raw with your answers. Because one thing I find, the reason why a lot of people hold back from sharing their ideas or opinions in meetings, and the reason why people can't talk fast or think smart on the spot, is because they are so worried about what other people are going to think. Like I mentioned before earlier in this video, the worry about what other people will think really causes you to hold back in the meetings. And a lot of people don't share their raw opinions, their raw ideas with other people in the room. This is a real hindrance, especially when you are looking toward leadership. People need to know what you think. Your ideas are valuable. Your opinions are valuable. You really need to begin to understand that, especially if you're looking toward a leadership position or if you have just started a leadership position. So don't hold back, don't filter your answer, be true to yourself, be true to your ideas and your opinions as well.
That concludes today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. Today and every day with your kiddo is a gift. Enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.